And welcome everyone. Thank you for making it to this meeting this evening. I'll just introduce, and for most of us that are just getting to know about NaijaBusiness Hub in Canada, we call it Canada NaijaBusiness Hub, but we have a branch of it in Winnipeg. And in Winnipeg, we have a marketplace on WhatsApp. Currently, we have 1,025 people. It's maxed out, and we are looking at what we can do to actually expand our capacity at this time. And so, by way of introduction, Canada NaijaBusiness Hub, it's a business group that helps Nigerian people to showcase their businesses. We share business information, opportunities that are available to business people. We help people with resources that want to start their businesses. They don't know the technical know-how of starting businesses in Canada, so we help with information. We share information actually on that platform. So we started from Telegram group in March, and I think around September we opened the WhatsApp group as a marketplace for people to share what they're selling. And as at October, I think the end of October, we carried out a survey, and about 45 people said they've made purchases constantly on that group. More than 20 vendors attested to the fact that they have been able to sell. I know there are more people, maybe a lot of people didn't see the poll, but just to showcase a little bit of what we are doing and the impact it's having on our society or our community as Nigerian people in Canada, especially in Winnipeg. So thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Tolu Adebayo. I'm known as T for Tolu of Brand Parlor on most Nigerian platform, and I won't bore you further. So thank you everyone that is here, 24 people. I'm going to be introducing our guest for today. What we're having now, we call it Market Square Chat. It's just a pathway that we created for people to share their stories as business owners in Canada. And it's just for us, we have a lot of information really out there on YouTube, on Google that we could access, but I just think that it's better if we can hear from the horse's mouth, people that have tread the path that we want to tow, and they can tell us their story first. And there's this thing, it makes it resonate better. We can ask questions and know how to make success of whatever business that we are interested in. So that's what Market Square Chat is supposed to achieve for us. And we've had about 4 sessions. We've had for the food business, we've had for the real estate business, we've had for IT business, where we interviewed Ajo Pro. For the real estate, we interviewed Mr. Fadipe, and for food, we interviewed Damilola Deniji in Toronto. I don't know how to call it yet. But we interviewed her, and she was able to tell us what it takes to establish a food business in Canada, and she walked us through her path to success in that line of business. And today we are going to be having a wonderful conversation. We're taking a deep dive. I call that a deep dive into the haulage business in Canada. I know a lot of us have our eyes on that kind of business, but we probably don't know, what it takes to start a business, how to wade through the murky waters. We don't know what the system requires of us. We don't know the challenges that are ahead of us on the way. And that is why we are brought in someone this evening to have that we can have that conversation with. And you join me to welcome this evening. I'm just going to introduce him a bit. His name is Wasiu Sonny, and he's the CEO of Mana Freight. He's also known as Wase Newest. He's someone that has been helping Nigerian immigrants or immigrants generally by helping them with the IELTS training, and he has successfully been able to help about 500 families by preparing them for the IELTS exam, and they've been able to make it to Canada. Without much ado, you would be in the best position to tell us more about himself. I'm going to hand over the mic, if there's something like that, to Mr. Wasiu Sonny to take us through his journey. But I'm going to start by asking him to introduce himself to us this evening. Mr. Wasiu, thank you for obliging us. It's like getting someone in this line of business has been very difficult. I've been trying to reach out, asking for people to come share their story, and it was very difficult. But he obliged and wanted to share with us so that a lot of us that are interested in that pathway would be able to make a success of it. Thank you so much for giving us your time this evening. And I would say it's over to you. Can you please introduce yourself? Can we meet you, Mr. Wasiu Sonny?
Thank you very much. Good evening, family. I want to believe we're all doing fine. Yeah, like the host has rightly said, my name is Wasiu Sonny, popularly known as Wasi West. Later on, I got the nickname Boss Wasi from my fans. Let me put it like that. So, and yeah, we are in Canada, managing doing it as we should, and to God be the glory. We have been doing fine. I want to believe each and every one of us here too is equally doing fine. So it's my pleasure to be here this wonderful evening to at least share my little knowledge or experience on what I know, what I've been through in the haulage industry with you, my fellow colleagues. Thank you very much for having me once again.
Thank you, Mr. Sonny. And so I'll start by asking like a kind of background story. When did you get to Canada? Like how many years have you been in Canada? And at what point did you start the business?
I moved into Canada with my family as far back as I think May 2019. So this is the 4th year. We'll be clocking 5 years by May next year. All right. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Going to 5 years old in Canada now, if I've been able to answer your question correctly.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll start by saying, how did you find yourself on this path?
Well, that's one tough, but at the same time an interesting question, to be honest. Well, back from Nigeria, I used to be an engineer, right? Electrical engineer is my field. You know, I used to work with some major companies in Nigeria. When we talk of Mikano, we talk of JMG, we talk of Elias Tower IHS. You know, I specialize in telecommunication. We build this mask, all those things we call towers in Nigeria at the time. So, and yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing in Nigeria. And finding myself in Canada, I realized that fortunately or unfortunately, I was coming from a background that is quite regulated. Like in Canada, the engineering industry as a whole is regulated, and as a result, it is not, even despite my almost 11 years experience from Nigeria at the time, I find it quite challenging to integrate into the system here. At some point, I got to realize that I've got to attend school, right, to advance more on my career path before I could be integrated into the system. And I was like, okay, if that's it. I did my background research at the time, tried to confirm what's going to be the output for me at the end of that learning curve if I decide to take that path. And I think it is something that wasn't really motivating for me. This is personal for me right now, right? So along the line, in between that period, I got a boss, fortunately from Nigeria. We came into Canada almost at the same time. And I realized that he's into the haulage industry, right? So I got this chit chat with him and was like, guy, this industry is not as difficult as people make it seem. Of course, we don't have too many Nigerians in it, but I'm sure with our background, we have seen it all in Nigeria. There's nothing that is, without accolade for us to overcome here. So, and I must tell you that decision, I didn't agree with it quite easy like that. It's a persuasion that took me almost, I would say, going to 2 years. It was almost 2 years before I could finally okay, let me just see what it is like. And at that point, a major point of concern for me was the size of the rig. That's how we normally call it. We describe our truck, right? I'm like, this thing that is very long, here I am with a very small stature. I don't see myself driving this kind of thing. I normally drive my car around the street. I see all these big heavy trucks moving, and it was like, forget it. Once you are inside, that's it. It becomes pretty much like a car the moment you have your hands on the steering and all of that. So that was how it started actually. So from there, I began to seek information from him, how I'm going to, get into the system. And to God be the glory, I am my own boss today. Thank God for that.
Awesome. Yeah. So, based on what you said, it appears that you drive your own truck. Is that?
Absolutely. I just got my truck now. 3 months.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. For how long have you started this business again?
It's going to like 2.5 years.
Okay, yeah. So what has been your experience on the road? Maybe how do you sleep? How do you eat? Generally, what has been the experience on the road?
Well, the road is challenging, I must say. I'll be very, very sincere with all of us. But like we all know, something must push a man. And if you get to meet any truck driver and he's telling you he's not motivated at first simply because of the money that is in it, he is lying. All right? Forgive me, I'm this person that is blunt. If I want to do something, I'm just going to do it straightforward, say it the way it is, right? So, of course, talking about the road experience, as a Naija guy now, I'm like, trust me, there's nothing I haven't seen in Nigeria. With the little background I just shared with us, we should know that. Like as far back as 2017, I've been through the 36 states of Nigeria. So there's nothing new for me here. So getting here, I just like, okay, is this how it is? So directly to your question on the road, of course, that is where the major challenge lies. Like we drive, every day I drive Canada and US wide, right? Been to almost 48 states in the States already in the space of 2 years. So, and then we face a lot of challenges, but we deal with it, all right? And when you talk of rest area, the good thing is that this part of the divide, this part of the world is quite easy. They got this organization intact, trust me. And we, the truck drivers, I will say that to a very large extent, they are treating us very well, right? They prioritize our profession. They know that our profession is much more like the doctors too. That's the way I love to see myself. We are saving lives, all right? You people virtually go to the malls every day to get your grocery and all of that. Without us, you're not going to get them, all right? So that's how much importance I cherish, I value, and I love my job. You understand? Awesome. So with the challenges on the road, it's normal. We deal with it. When we move, like in Canada, by law, we are allowed to drive for 13 hours in Canada, right? In the US, it's 11 hours. The laws in the US is a little bit more stricter than in Canada here. So 11 in Canada, 13 in the US, and then we sleep in our truck. That's how it is. There's no time for getting hotel accommodation or motel or no. And thankfully, our truck is well equipped, I must say. It's got 2 beds, bunk beds in it. It's got a fridge and a freezer. It has also got a microwave in that truck. So I see it as a mini self-contained, like we used to call it in Bulgaria. So
in the apartment.
Exactly. So once I'm in it, I just know this is going to be my home, my shelter for the next couple of days or weeks sometimes. And I'm good to go.
Awesome. So what are the risks and major challenges, especially on the road with weather variations and like driving in the snow and not, the weather variation that we have in this part of the world?
Yeah. Finally, we are in the winter period now, and it's quite crazy, all right? Especially like you said during your intro, most of these informations are online. Anyone can easily check truck driving in the winter, and you see a lot of horrifying videos, and it could make your heart skip and make you be like, no, I can't do this, all right? But it is not as difficult as it seems, basically, from my own point of view, especially if you have the mindset, you got the determination, and you always have it at the back of your mind that for every trip you got a family you want to come back to home to safe and sound, all right? So as a result, you always drive with your common sense, right? And then another beauty of the job is that we are not compelled in any circumstances to do anything that we don't want to do. All right, and that is one major reason I venture into the business as well. Like the freedom is almost 100%. Even before I become my own boss, while I was working with a company, they don't dictate for me. If I tell them I can't do this, that's it. You understand? So the job, the flexibility is quite one that is also very good, and we are dealing with it. So with weather, it's a normal thing. I wouldn't want to scare anyone because I know people might get scared. So you just do your thing. And of course, we make the Google Map our friends. Before I move to any state, like for example, I know where the number of states I'm going to be passing through. So I check the weather on that route well ahead of time, and then I plan my trip. So it's as simple as that. It's quite simple.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I can see a lot of female folks on this call, and I'm wondering, are there female drivers? Do they face any peculiar challenges in that line of business?
Yep. As a matter of fact, sometimes if you get on the road, you'll be wondering, is this industry dominated by females more than the males? Because we have got a lot of female drivers. Oh. Right, and then of course I do see some black people like us, but I'm not sure if they are Nigerians, especially as I've not seen more than 3 Nigerian truck drivers since I've started anyways. Wow. Right, so but talk about female drivers, we have them a lot, especially Indians, Pakistans, and from those part of the divide, we have female drivers a lot, and we are pulling it together. Sometimes you'll be driving, you just see a truck, boom, right beside you, peep through, and you get to see that is a female, you'll be like, whoa,
Oh.
So these are part of the fun aspect of it too. Well,
something you just said caught my attention. You said you just met about 3 people that are Nigerians. Like, seriously?
Yeah, just 3.
You've been living one year on the table.
One in Ontario, like 2 actually in Ontario, then with that my boss that introduced me into the industry, making just 3.
Okay, yeah, it's a good thing you're opening our eyes this evening, and I'm sure by the end of this session, a lot of people are going to be taking steps to start, that kind of business. So I think we should just go straight to the nitty-gritty of what we are here to discuss. So I would ask, what are the requirements? Are the requirements the same? Either you are an owner, so you are an owner-operator, and I know that there are some people that would just want to buy the truck and let someone else drive for them. So the requirements for you as a driver, is it the same thing for someone that is just wanting to buy trucks and get someone to drive?
Well, that's quite different. Like as a driver, to become a driver, we possess the highest.
Oh wait, sorry. I think I should just start by saying, what are the requirements? Yeah, so to start a trucking business or haulage business, what are the requirements? They will now know if the requirements are the same for both, parties.
Okay, I get that. Yeah. Well, the requirements are quite basic, right? Like every truck driver, you got the highest class of driving license. It's called the Class 1A. So I want to believe you drivers have Class 5. So you know the levels now. So we are not on the same cadre. Let me do some younger, as we used to call it.
Okay,
right?
Now, yeah.
So normally what will happen is you have to go through a truck driving school, right, to get trained. And then the training can last, minimum is 1.5 months.
Okay.
Right, and then it depends on how well you are able to cope during training. For some, it can take them like 4, 5, 6 months. I've seen guys that spend 6 months on the training, and the reason why that is such is because the exam is tough. To be frank, it's quite tough, right? And the exam basically is divided into 5 segments, and you are expected to pass the 5 segments at the O. All right. So air brake, driving, to reverse on its own is another component part of the exam. And I must tell you that is the most difficult, reversing that big rig you normally see on the road, right? So you have to face the exam after an in-class training of about 1.5 months, like I've said earlier. So that means you are right to go for the exam. So your training school will get you registered with the government bodies, like say MPI as we used to have it in Manitoba here. So there's a way they do the training and the exam for Class 1 license too. So you go for the exam. So once you passed, then that's it. You become a licensed driver. All right. And that's pretty much it. I wouldn't know if that answered your question correctly.
Yeah. So the other part of the question is the requirements. If I just want to get a truck and get someone to drive, does it apply? Like, what am I required to have?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, talking about that, I think as far as I know, for now, it's basically divided into two. We have got the leasing part of it, and there's also the lease to own. All right. So the leasing part of it is the one whereby you approach a company that sells truck, right? You just tell them you need this truck on lease. So that way they are going to give you the truck. Of course, it is financed just like the way we finance our cars and our houses too. You understand? So that too is always financed because it's no small money. We're looking at around 150,000 or even 200,000, depending on the grade and model and the year of the truck you wanna get, right? So you approach them, you either tell them you want to lease. So how that leasing works basically is they give you, okay, we can lease this for you within a period of 5 years. So after the 5 years, you are returning it back to us. All right. So with lease, as it is called, that one is majorly what people that are already footed into the business does. Like my employer before, they have about 50 trucks, and then I think about 30% of them, 80% of them are on lease, whereby they just give it to drivers. After some years, they return it back and get another new one. All right. So the second part of it is what we call the lease to own. So that one too is lease, but at the end of the contract terms, it becomes your home.
Okay.
You understand? So with that, of course, pretty much like the way we buy our car and houses, like I said earlier, they give you a format, payment method. You start paying monthly, and then once you are able to scale to the number of years you have on the agreement terms, then it becomes your own. So that is what we can say is best suited to whoever is planning to become an owner operator.
Okay, yeah. So, but in terms of certification, do they need some sort of certification, like, like you have the A1 license? They don't need that, do they?
They do.
Oh, hey.
Like for drivers, the license is for drivers. Okay. All right. So, but take for example, if there's anyone here, for example, that has got the cash and is looking at doing the business, of course, that must mean that you probably have some drivers you want to give the trucks to be driving for you, right? So, of course, that is also allowed. So long you have your money, you can approach any trucking company that you want to buy a truck or some trucks. They give it to you, and
awesome. So
do it. But
talking about
of course, the requirement basically is lots of cash, right? Okay, yeah, you want to dive into that?
Yeah, so talking about money, how much do you need to start a haulage business?
Numbers now.
Yeah, numbers. Very important.
We need lots of it, to be honest. And for example, I drive a 2022. It's called Freightliner truck, right? And then it is around 170. All right. So the truck, that is the head. It's not the full size. We have what we call the truck. We equally have the trailer. They are two different stuffs.
Okay.
All right. So we call the head the truck, and we call the trailer. I believe we all know the trailer. So that is different. So with the truck alone now, that's around. It can go as high as 150 to 250,000 Canadian dollars.
Oh.
Depending on the model, on the year, all right. And then the trailer too, same thing, depending on the model and the year, but that is quite cheaper when compared to the truck. You can get that around between 40,000 to 100,000.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, that's pretty much the basic equipment. All right. Aside from that, of course, there are also many other related components. Right. Okay. When you talk about the registration for truck and trailer is no joke. It's nowhere compared to our cars. On my truck and trailer now, I pay almost 8,000 a month. All right. To the people that sell it for me, right? Then the insurance is another thing. I pay about 1,300 a month on insurance. Then there's also the plate. that plate we normally get at MPI for our cars. I pay about 1,300 a month for that plate too. We call it the ERP. All right. So apart from that, if you are, a driver that want to be moving from Canada to the States, there are also inter-country fees, right? Some of them we call them IFTA, cargo, blah blah blah. There are quite many, like 5 of those too. You understand? But it's all about cash. You need to have the money, and you will be good to go.
Yeah, so that when it comes to mortgage, they'll tell you that if you have maybe 20%, 5% for first-time homeowners. So in terms of funding, because you mentioned that there are leasing opportunities. So if a truck is like 250, can you make like a down payment of some sorts of maybe 10%, 5%, 20%? Is there any kind of arrangement like that?
Yeah, that's also another beautiful part of it. As a matter of fact, you can make 0 down payment and walk away with a truck and a trailer.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. I should start the business tomorrow.
Yeah. So it depends on how much you have, how much you can drop. If you don't have, I got a friend, one of those guys that I said I knew in Ontario who's into the trucking business in Nigeria. He told me he had 0 down payment. He just walk up to them, tell them I need a truck, and he check his credit, and that's it.
Awesome. So are there funding opportunities available for newcomers to the business? Like, are there readily available funding opportunities? Maybe there's a way the government is helping.
Of course, there is. Even though I didn't get to know about that while I was, doing my training, but I know there is grants too available too. In fact, it's 100%.
Whoa.
Take for instance, if somebody says he wants to become a truck driver, you can walk up. There's a way to go about it, which I might not be able to go into the details. Like the grants, they will fund it 100%. But if you want to go do it on your own without the government support, minimum you need to have is about 8,000 to 15,000, depending on the province.
Wow, nice. Thank you. Wow, so I would like to ask, is it necessary to register it as a business, this trucking haulage? Like, do you need to do these, you call it CAC back home, but do you need to do like a business, or you can just, like, for example,
that is a compulsion here. You have got to register it legally before you could move it, either in Canada or US. All right, you have got to register it. So if you are working for a company, of course, the company that is going to be giving you a truck must have registered it before you be able to put it on the road. But if it's going to be your own personal property, you have equally got to register it before you could.
As a business.
Yeah, it's compulsory.
As a business.
As a business, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
you're driving a truck, you are doing business, already.
Yeah, you are. So, okay, I think you've touched on this. The question is, being a regulated business, are there mandatory requirements that needs to be met every month? I think you mentioned something about the monthly payment and stuff like that. Apart from that, like, are there trainings that you need to maybe upskill in some areas or go for, some kind of, I don't know. Are there requirements that you need to?
Yeah, the moment you get your class 1 license, that's part 1. All right. So if you want to upgrade that license, we can upgrade it too. There's a particular aspect of what we call dangerous goods. So if you want to be able to haul dangerous goods, you have got to go for that training too and get your license for it.
Sorry, what are dangerous goods?
All right. Dangerous goods.
What are those?
Like fuel tankers.
Okay. Yeah.
Fuel tankers. So those ones are classified under dangerous goods. So they require an upgraded version of your class 1A license before you be able to drive that. Even within the confine of our own truck, like my own truck and trailer, there are some goods that are still part of dangerous goods. Goods that are flammable, that can explode.
Okay.
Right? Goods such as paint. If you are transporting paint, you must have the dangerous good license. All right. And then, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. So let's get to the good parts. Would you say it's a profitable business?
100%. It is.
Oh, Fantastic. Please share.
Let nobody be scared about the money I've been mentioning that you got to pay every month for. The good thing is, even when you get a truck, you are paying monthly under the lease to own. You know that after 4 years or 5 years, like my own truck is within the contract term of 4 years. I know that after 4 years, it becomes mine. I can decide to sell it, keep my money, or continue using it, right? So that's a form of investment on its own, in my own view, right? And other than that, trust me.
And there is insurance on it, so in case anything happens.
Of course, 100% insurance as well. It's part of the other expenses I mentioned earlier. You're not going to be paying insurance and not have your truck and trailer, even the goods that we carry. So long you are carrying any goods, it's automatically insured as well. All right. So yeah, that's how that is.
Yeah, so looking at profitability, I'm just wondering, like, how do you charge? Is there a statutory rate, maybe per mileage? If someone say, oh, I want to take my goods to Texas, how do you charge? Is it based on mileage or the weight of the goods or the nature of the goods? What's the parameter for charging?
Yeah, basically that is all about mileage. All right. If you are joining a company, like when I used to work for a company, they will be like, okay, this is how much we are ready to pay you per mile, irrespective of the kind of goods or the amount of weight you are carrying. That rate per mile is fixed. All right. Some companies will pay 55, 65, depending on your bargaining power to and how much experience you have. Right?
$5.
55 cents.
Oh, cents. Okay.
Mile. Cents per mile. But if you got like 2-3 years of experience, they can take it to 65 cents per mile. You understand? So, but it's basically per mile. But that is a little bit different when you are now an owner operator, like I am. All right. So with me now, let's say I want to go to Texas, like you have said, there's something we call load bank. That is where we all go for our loads. All right, that load bank too, you got to register is per annum. You register for 1 year, so it gives you free access to that load bank. It's pretty much like a website where they post all available loads. All right, although that is not my job, that's another department in the trucking business. It's called the dispatch. So we call the people that handle that for us the dispatchers. All right, so I just get in touch with my dispatcher, get me a load I wish to go to so and so, and then the dispatcher is going to come up with some opportunities, right? Some options, and I check it. Okay, this is going to this in Texas. How much are they paying? This other part of Texas, how much are they paying? Then it's left for me to compare and contrast, and then do my thing. Of course, one would expectedly go for the one that is paying more, right? So that is how it works.
Oh, great. Because I was actually going to ask, like, is there a readily available market, like are there demands, or you need to do some form of marketing before you get goods to move? But based on what you said now, so there is a bank
market. Yes, it is readily available.
Okay.
It is readily available. If I wake up tomorrow, I feel like I'm moving, it's just a matter of me getting my dispatch. You go to the load bank, and less than 1 hour, something is going to come out. I go pick it, and I start moving.
Yeah. So let me just digress a bit. If you just maybe you've been on the road for like 2 weeks now, and you just need maybe there's a commitment, you need some level of funds, and you went to the bank and you saw that there are opportunities. Are there regulatory requirements that does not allow you to work consecutively for like the entire month? Do you get my point? So
I don't quite get that.
Yeah, in my mind I'm thinking like maybe you do 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off, but maybe you just feel like, oh, I need extra money. Can you like say I'm working the entire month? Are they going to go? Yeah,
of course you can. But as a truck driver, you won't be able to do that. Your body won't let you.
Oh, okay. So it's about your body now.
Yeah.
Can never tell you. Some of us, you can't.
Those ones have never driven a truck before. They don't know how it takes.
Yeah, but really, you said that when we enter the truck, like it's actually like being in a car. So you need to exert a little bit of energy driving the truck.
In fact, I spend less energy when I'm driving my truck. Like all of your cars, we used to look at you like rabbits,
I
so to
can't.
speak.
You
You
know.
understand? Like when you are on top of that rig, just be mentally aware and you'll be fine. Like we have top-notch visibility.
Oh,
Far distance, short distance, we can see everything, and we just do our thing. So there's nothing difficult in it. Like that was what I first feared too before I get into it, but thank God I can look back to my starting point and I'm like, wow, thank God I did this. That's all I can say. So there's pretty much ease of operating a truck. It's not as difficult as many people that they see it on the road think it is.
yeah. Thank you so much. I have some questions I've written down, but I can see that while you're answering some other questions, we've touched on them. Example is their brokers or association that helps with business referrals. You talked about the bank. I think, do we have any other like association that you need to belong to that you readily get jobs? And also, you touched on. Okay, my question is: can one operate a trucking business without driving? Obviously, one can. Can someone who doesn't have the trucking knowledge do trucking? Of course, someone based on what you've said. And the last one: how does one ensure that the business is profitable? So this part is like, oh, you are the one leasing the truck, giving it to a driver. How do you ensure that you are getting your money back? That you're not just the driver. You know the way it is in Nigeria that they say if you are operating transport, you are just feeding those people. They can come and tell you story, but I know that there are regulations that drivers can't do the same here. So how profitable it is for someone that is not ready to drive but is ready to, go through the leasing, starting the business, but they want to get someone to drive for them. How profitable would it be for them? There are so many questions already in the chat, so we just need to kind of wrap up our own question and we'll dive into.
Quite frankly, I wouldn't advise anyone who's got the financial wherewithal to kickstart a trucking business without having an iota of experience to venture into that kind of business. Like you planning on investing your money, recruiting drivers to do it for you, it's probably won't work well because it is a very, very wide industry. There is a lot, all right, that requires it to be undertaken by someone who's already has some, form of experience, all right? Like, take for example, you are not a truck driver, you bought a truck for me, you're sending me to Texas. I can tell you I'm using a fuel of 10,000. There's no way you're going to know unless you have driven a truck before, right? But if it's someone who is already in the line of the business, even if it is just 6 months, it will be enough. You already know that, okay, if you are going to so place, this is the major challenge basically is going to be the fuel, all right? Every other thing can be tracked. Of course, you can put a tracker on your truck.
I was asking that,
You understand? You can have a tracker on your truck. Of course, you can track it, but with the fuel, you might not be able, to get a 100% grip on that, unless you have got a driver that you think you can trust. Maybe your family member, if they don't end up disappointing along the line, maybe, all right? But I think I wouldn't advise that. Say maybe you have a friend who is in the business that is ready to like coordinating with you, monitoring your drivers, that's fine. But with just you with zero background knowledge of what trucking is all about, getting a truck for a driver, no matter how good or how efficient he is, might be a dangerous call.
Yeah, is it possible that are there companies, established companies, that you can buy a truck and hand it over to them to manage for you? Do you get my point?
Yeah. Such a person can do that based on agreed terms.
We have existing arrangements like that.
A lot. Oh. Bison is one of them. Even Superstore, they operate their own truck too in-house. Walmart. So you
buy a truck for them and they will be giving you money.
Of course. Even some drivers, if I wanted to, I could, as I bought my truck, I could take it to them. Like, okay, you guys be giving me loads. Let's agree on percentage and what have you. Then that's it. All right. So that can be done.
So I'm seeing like
but I am almost starting.
Yeah, I'm seeing like three pathways.
I'm with you.
To run the business, like you are the owner and you're driving, that's one. Another one is to establish the business, have experience, and have a pool of drivers or pool of trucks and drivers to.
Good.
Then you can also buy and give it to a third person company to manage for you. That's correct?
Good. Yeah, that's good
Awesome.
definition. Perfect.
Yeah. So my second to the last question, why do trucking business fail? I know even though you think oh, it's a good business, but I know there would be stories of people that have failed in this business. Why do you think they failed? And so that we can avoid such.
Yeah. Well, I would say carelessness. Carelessness in the sense that trucking is one delicate profession that requires you to be, most of the time, at least save for rainy day, like we used to call it, because you never can tell when a truck broke down and how much is going to be required for you to fix that truck.
Insurance does not cover that.
No, the insurance will most likely cover only accidents. That's the essence of insurance, right? It's not for breakdowns and repairs. You understand? Although some insurances, the truck is pretty new, like the one I got, right? It's got some extended insurance that if it happens to develop this kind of fault and fault before it gets to this mileage, it is covered, all right? But what happens after that mileage has been exceeded, it's all going to be on my head. You understand? So that's how it is. So I think, yeah, that's the major reason I see why trucking business could fail if one is not, calculative with his or her spending. You have to be very, very cautious with your expenses. You don't say because I can get load, I can move whenever I want, and then you become a spending spree. It's not going to end well at the end of the day.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so before I ask the last question, I would like to go into the chat to read out some of those questions that have been asked. And after then, we are going to be taking questions from people. We are going to, if you raise up your hand, we'll unmute you and you ask your question live. But let me first go through those that have dropped their questions so that we'll quickly go over them. The first one, yeah. So the first one says, are there statutory requirements for registration of the business? How do you get business? Well, I think that has been answered. That question was asked by Rotimi Fadipe. I think that has been answered, but if it hasn't been answered, you can ask when we unmute for people to ask questions, but I think it has been answered. The next one is, did he see opportunity in the business for people to come in? Did he see opportunity? Also, do you think you have answered that? Did he see opportunity?
No, we haven't. I think I understand what that questionnaire is trying to ask. Yeah, there is, to be honest, but it's one that is not easy. Of course, we all know the LMIA route, especially now with visitors visa, people coming in wanting to get LMIA, you understand? So that opportunity is also available in the trucking business. In fact, most companies that are already grounded, that's one sure avenue where they normally bring people in. Like my former company too, you just walk up to the office, get to see these fresh guys. You know they are just coming into Canada to come and drive truck. So they have basically been sponsored by their countrymen, who happens to be my bosses, to come work, right? So on that,
it is when they get here that they do the training and get all the certification,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. You understand? So they just sponsor them down here, enroll them for the training.
Sounds good.
And they get on the road.
People that have been thinking of how to bring in their relatives and they know they can drive. So this is a pathway, right?
Of course.
But how do you now get the employer, or can they easily get that online, someone that is ready to employ and give them LMIA?
Well, like I said, I am the fourth Nigerian that I know that is in the business, right? So the three that I know, including me making four, I think only one has been able to get to the level of, issuing LMIA. And the last time I spoke with him was like, my list is full, man. I got a lot of people I want to bring in too. You understand? So I think in a way that's the disadvantage of us Nigerians not establishing ourselves here. with due respect, a lot of us prefer to do per hour jobs, and it's not helping us, especially our people back home. You understand? Maybe if someone is hearing this now, even if you are doing your food business, I know there are pathways they can do that too. Just try and get a business on. No matter the kind of business or the size of business, there will definitely be an opportunity for you to get LMIA, right? That's where you'll be able to get someone in. But as far as I know for now, for me, I can't do it yet because I think it takes about 3 years from what I gathered before you will be able to issue LMIA. Yeah. I'm not even doing in that line yet because I'm just starting. A lot still on my plate.
So I think I'll just call on us or Nigerians on the platform. Please, let's start this business so that we can bring in more people through that part. Really. I would have loved to ask you, like, how much do you make every month? But you want to tell me because I just want to have an idea. like, what's your yearly? When we say, it's 6 figure. If you eat 6 figure like this, you're like a king. And I'm sure, like, for someone like you, like, what's 6 figure? Because people are counting in millions, right?
No.
Yeah, well, it's not a yes or a no.
To be frank, before now, it used to be.
Okay.
Trust me, of course, that was part of the reason why I agreed to go into the business too, even not for money, like I've said earlier. Then what is it, right? But right now there is a little bit of a downturn in the trucking industry as a whole. But at all, you are still gonna be good if your mouth is not wide. Like
500.
I'm not gonna say that, right? But let me just give you an example, just so it doesn't look like I'm stingy with information.
Yeah.
For example, on a load going to Texas, for example, say maybe Texas is a 3 days drive, right? You can get it for, let's see, 5,000 Canadian dollars. It's just rough estimates now. You can get it for 5,000 Canadian dollars, and the total amount you are going to spend on fuel for that trip might not be more than 2,000 or at most 2,005. Okay. But what happens to the rest is in your pocket in 3 days.
Yeah, and if you do that like 10 times in a month, I'm trying to calculate now.
I can see the way you are rubbing your back now.
So that's like around
like money.
A month. Wow, nice. Thank you so much. Someone is saying, is that like what we call hire purchase at home? I think the person is referring to that leasing arrangement. Is it like hire purchase?
I've not done hire purchase in Nigeria before, so I don't know, but I don't know. Like, I know some people will buy Marwa, then they will be paying small. Yeah, it's pretty much like it. We can say it's much like it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So someone say, how did people contact them? Do they have garage where people come in? Okay, yeah. So I think you mentioned that. I think this person is asking about the bank where you, as in, how do people reach out to you to say, okay, I want you to move my goods? So there is a bank that you go to pick.
Yeah, it's basically through the loan bank. Along the line, of course, when you become more established, you begin to have personal relations with those companies whereby they can call you instead of going to the loan banks, right? Some will call you like, okay, are you available for this? We think we have this. We love the way you drove our goods, the way you delivered intact and all of that. So occasionally that do happen, but not all the time.
So the bank, do you pay like?
Essentially, it's through the banks.
Yeah. So for the bank, do you have like? Did you give them like commission or something? Or it's a free platform?
No, it's not commission. It's an annual fee.
Oh, annual fee, yeah.
Pay them per annum, and then that's it.
Like how much?
Fortunately, for me, I'm using a free dispatcher, so I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
You understand? The person is doing it for me for free, and it's my boss, the person that I said introduced me to the trucking. So he also equally learns that dispatching on his own. You understand? So instead of him paying some other people or agency to do that, so he's doing it on his own. And I haven't asked him. Mine is, I need to go to this place, get me this, and he's been doing this. So I think it's an avenue for me to also say a big thank you to him. He's been my wonderful boss. Like, it's real. Like, we all know that Nigerians. You see someone who's already in line show you exactly how it is, So he's been doing that for me for free. I'm a
I think we need,
guy.
yeah, we need more of that within our community.
Yeah.
You look at other communities, I don't want to mention the one that we usually cite, example, the Indians and all that. We need to do more for ourselves, because at the end of the day, it's about helping our people really to rise. We can't continue to do the same thing the same way and have a different result. Thank you. This question says,
mentioned, we have a long way to go. A very, very long way to go. Those guys are way ahead of us.
Yeah,
and they're not better than us.
Yeah, it started with them to change our mindset.
My boss, while I was with that Indian company, 2 of them are about 23 and 25. Very young guys. And you need to see the pool of Indians they have brought into this country. And they are making, they are making ways to, like, they are always after the prosperity of their fellow countrymen. And I don't understand
we need to start changing that narratives. We need to help. Like I put at the end of this invite, I say, if we don't share, waiting we gain. Like if you're not sharing, what are you gaining? You're not gaining anything. But if you share, you don't know the far-reaching impacts of what you've shared would have on people. We came to this country through information. I'm a PR. I don't know what to call it, but I came through PR, and it was based on information I got from a lot of Telegram. People were sharing, people like Mr. Wale in Manitoba Clinic, Jean in Manitoba Clinic, they were giving us information that got us to where we are today. And if you don't share, like, what are we really gaining? So, sorry for those that are not here. Can 2 or 3 or 2 or more drivers come together and form a consortium?
Is that a question for me?
Yeah. Can 2 or more drivers come together and form a consortium, like 2 drivers coming together? Yeah, okay.
Of course.
Like another kind of partnership.
Yes, like my former company, like I said, there are 2 guys running the show. So they join together and they are doing it. And of course, I think that will take me to another part of a solution which you have not asked. We also have drivers that drive in team. 2 guys can drive 1 truck. We call them team driving. All right, that is also possible. So those ones, rest assured, they are working 24 hours.
Oh, so they switch. Okay, is it possible to be the only driver in a truck? I think you're supposed to be like 2.
No, it's just me.
Oh, so the government does not require that 2 people drive?
No, it can be just you and it can be 2.
Oh yeah. So if you're 2, that means you can walk around the month then. Is that what it means?
Yes, of course. That is what they do, and they are doing it fine. They are used to it. Like
when one is driving, another one is sleeping.
Exactly.
Awesome. Wow. Any significant risk, and what are the? Sorry, I think I missed the question. Let me go back up. Okay, the person asked monthly revenue estimate. I think you've given us around 20,000. Any significant risk, and what are the mitigants you would advise?
A risk basically is if you don't follow the rules, right? And like we all know here, we don't have last mile, we don't have VIOs on the road. Everything you need to drive is out there on the road. So yours is just to
follow the rules.
Follow the rules. Be aware of your surroundings. If you are aware, you definitely be aware. That's how I love to call it.
I want to ask a question. You know that I've this small snow that has fallen, I've seen like cars skidding and all that. Does it happen with trucks?
A lot.
Oh.
But it can only happen to greedy drivers, let me put it like that. Because like I've said, it's per mile. That is also, I think that's the best answer, right? Most people are driving per mile. Even when I used to drive under company, when I know that I'll get paid per mile, sometimes I get this urge to move more than I should, because I know the more I move, the more money I make. You understand? But under this condition, you've seen the weather. We are the best with maps. We are the best with weather. That's our job. It's a major tool for our job, you understand? So you could see everything well ahead of time. So why risk it when you know that there's danger on the road? You understand? So those are basically what I think are causative
Okay, yes,
factors
Mr.
for the
Ayokule
risk.
asks, is it better to start off as an independent trucker or work with a company?
You must work with a company first before
First?
you become independent.
Yes. So
There's no way you can do it.
you learn the ropes, you know.
Exactly. Especially in this field, you have just got to learn the ropes.
Okay, how has he been able to combine work, job with the family upkeeping? How has he been able to combine the job with the family upkeeping? I think what the person asking is like,
I understand, and I've been expecting that question.
okay.
Yeah, thank God. I've got a very understanding wife. All right, I got 3 kids already, and our work is basically at home. I'm right here in our office now, so she's at home dealing with the kids, and the more reason why I kind of pushed becoming an owner operator, because that way I get more time for myself and for my family. I can decide when I want to work and when I don't want to work. You understand? Like right now, I've been at home since Thursday, and I don't plan on moving an inch until Tuesday or Wednesday. You understand? So, of course, even if you are working for companies, by law, you cannot drive more than 70 hours. That is the law. Okay? That 70 hours essentially is going to be roughly 6-7 days. So after every 70 hours, depending on whether it took you 6 or 7 days, by law again, you must rest for 36 hours. That is 1.5 days before you can hit the road again. If you dare hit the road when you are supposed to be resting by law, you're not going to like yourself. So
okay, let's move on. Is it a career path for growth? Is it a career path for growth? Like,
we don't have said since morning.
Yeah.
I think the question has been answered. From 1, in a matter of time, I'm going to move to 2. Gradually like that. We'll see how it goes. Right.
Okay, and someone say, I want to ask about the bank dispatcher aspect. Is that also an arm of Haulage or different business?
It is also a part of Haulage. Everything is intertwined.
Yeah, the ecosystem.
From the broker to the dispatcher to the driver. Okay. The 3 work hand in hand. There's no one that can independently be on its own. You understand? Although it is possible for a driver to combine 2. That is to drive and as well act as a dispatch. Okay. All right. But the brokers, they are completely different. You have to get those ones from the load bank. Except for few instances where you have built connections with some of those companies you have been picking up loads for regularly, that is when they get to call you. You understand? But other than that, they are separate, but they are like a circle, a ring in a circle.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have come to the end of the questions in the chat. If you have any other question you want to ask Mr. Wasiu, can you put up your hands so that we can unmute you to ask your question? Are we all clear? Please put up your hands if you have any question to ask. Okay, it would seem like we have exhausted all the questions. Okay, yeah. So we have Bernard Adeniji. I'm going to unmute you so that I can ask you a question.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
All right. Hello, Wasiu.
Yes, boss. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for taking our time to explain to us how the haulage industry works. I just wanted to find out from you what kind of truck you use, because I'm aware that there are different kinds of trucks. The type of truck you use, because I know there are different kinds of trucks that can go to the States. I mean, do you use a triaxle, or is it no, Super B? I know Super B's go within Canada, but what kind of truck do you use to haul your goods? And how many tonnage is it?
It's within the range of, yeah, my truck is 53 foot and it's 80,000 lb, 80,000 pounds.
Okay.
So it's the biggest one you could have, the longest and the biggest, except if on few occasions where some drivers do combine. There are some brilliant drivers that have backed the experience that can even combine those 2 trucks as long as they are. Some even drive 3. They combine 3 of them together. All right.
But that's within Canada. You can't take that to US, right?
No, it's dominant in the US.
3 trucks together, 3 trailers together.
Yes, 3 trailers together. 2, 3, they do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
It's 80,000 pounds.
Okay.
That's the gross weight.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to unmute Peter Oladoke to ask his question. Peter, you can please unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Wasi. I'd like to find out how soon can one get into the training for to become a truck driver.
Okay, how soon can one get the training?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, like I've mentioned earlier, take for instance, if someone is ready now, it's just a matter of going up to MPI. I'd love to become a truck driver, so they give you the manual. So the manual is going to contain basic information on the computer-based exam that you are going to have to first and foremost do, right? So it's pretty much like the class 5. You know, we do the computer-based test. So once you have passed that, then you have to find a truck driving school, training school to attend. So when you get to the training school, if you are going with the grant option to be sponsored by government, they are going to let you know. Most of those training schools always have slots from the government. All right. In fact, you can easily get those grants through those training schools because they are the ones that know how to, work around it. So once you have concluded with your training school, either you are going through the grant method or you want to pay out of your pocket, then they get you enrolled into the class. The class is what I said, minimum is going to be 1 month, maximum 1.5 months, right? After the class, they are going to send you away because they have a lot of queues. It's always filled up. As we speak now, if you contact some training school, they might tell you they are not going to be able to enroll you until March or April because they have students that are queued up already waiting in line, you understand? So once you're done with your training after 1 or 1.5 months, then you go face the exam. They leave you to your fate. Go to MPI, face them on the exam, all right? And the exam, like I've said, is divided into 5 categories and you have to pass the 5 at once. On the exam day, it's something that could take you about 8 hours. They usually do it in a single day. So that's the most. You said what?
Is it practical, like driving?
Yes. Oh yeah, we didn't talk. It's completely practical. Like everything you'll be learning in the training is going to be about the truck. There is no component part of the truck that you will not know. In fact, if you have got some engineering background from Nigeria, you will be able to troubleshoot on some of those trucks when they develop minor faults. You understand? Because of course, they are machines, pretty much like the generators we use back home and cars. So they got the same, schematic diagrams and all of that. So that's it. So once you have passed, of course, you are good to go. And the beauty of it is, right from the moment you have passed, that is when people will start calling you for jobs. If you are interested in working for us, if you are interested in this and that. So that is how it works. I don't know if I've been able to answer your question succinctly.
Yes, you have. Please, does the exam have a cost?
Yes, but the exam cost has been included in the training fee. If it's the grant, it's automatically included. If it's what you pay out of your pocket, the training school will have charged for the exam cost. All right. But for example, if someone now did the exam one time, happens to fail, the next one, some training school will say, okay, if you fail once, we will pay for the second one. After the second one, if such a person fails again, it's going to be on you to start paying for your exam. And I think it's about $250 or $300 for the exam.
Thank you. I'm going to be unmuting Taiwo Olayeni for us to ask his question. You're unmuted, Taiwo.
Hello, good evening.
Good
And
evening.
then good evening, Mr. Wasi. Thank you very much for this opportunity. You said so much, and then I really appreciate you for coming up with this. Okay, yeah, I have 2 or 3 questions, but let me just put them in bits, and so you can answer everything together. First, how were you able to cope with this? Should I say language barrier thing? Because this sector, I can say from the little experience I have, it's kind of dominated by the Punjabis, I mean the Indians. They have their radio. In fact, most of the training schools, virtually, there is almost nothing you want to do without meeting them somehow. So that's one question. Second one, okay, even to support that first one, because I happen to have a class 1 too. I wanted to go into this field a while back, some months back, and then I was fortunate to even get the license. But then it was a very, very hard task because first I was trained by Indians. In my whole class, I was like the only English-speaking person inside. Because 95% of us, they are Indians. So I was the only one, and they were literally speaking Indian throughout even my training. But I could not complain because it's their school. The owner of the school, they are Indians.
You fall under the minority.
That is it. But then, like they said, our will always will us on. So because of I know exactly what I wanted. So I didn't let that affect me. But somehow, during the class and all that, it got to me to the point that during the exams, they were asking things I could not. I know these things were things they showed us, but I could not exactly remember what they were talking about because these people were speaking English on that day. But somehow I was able to cope. So that brings me back to the question: how were you able to cope with that language thing? That's number one. Secondly, how easy was it for you to get US visa? Because that's another major silent requirement, especially after you've passed and you want to really go to the field. Otherwise, I'm sure at least there will be some kind of limitation, one thing, either they pronounce it or not. I wanted to get a job, and most of them were asking me, do you have US visa? Can you enter the which one is this one again now? So that's another thing. I just wanted to talk about how easy it was for you to get it and the kind of class of license, class of visa you have to seek. Then the third one, the barrier of you have a license, you're a newbie in the field. You can't have license. You can't say you're a newbie and you have experience, but many companies will still ask you how many years of experience you have. I don't have. Then what next? They either say they want to call you or they call you back or something like that. Did you face something similar to that, and how were you able to cope? So those are my questions. Thank you once more.
Thank you very much, boss. 3 brilliant questions, of course, from someone who's already in the line. It's highly expected. Yeah, straight to your first question, language barrier. Yeah, I went with 2. During my training, we were 3 Africans. We were even 2 with one Eritrean guy. And that guy too, he doesn't understand any English. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't understand Indian too, so it's double wala. But fortunately at my training school, of course, we were dominated at the time by 95% Indians. All right, but my trainer at the time can speak a bit of English. And I assure you, like you have said, quite unfortunate that he just turned out that way. But in my own situation, my trainer was able to communicate in English. Some that he couldn't, he struggled, and I tried to bring myself down to his level and comprehend, right? And I wouldn't know, maybe you were given an handout during your training. They also avail us handouts. So whatever he's saying, once I'm able to read, I know that, okay, this is what he's trying to explain. Of course, they find it difficult to explain in English. And you'll be even surprised, how are they driving when they don't understand English from Canada to US? they are born to do it, they are trained to do it, they are determined to do it. All right. So the challenge is always there, because I understand the barrier is there, but I think for any other person that is looking into getting into trucking, it's not only Indians that do offer the training, even though they are the most available ones and they are the cheaper ones. All right. We have several other nationals that do offer, even Canadians. Some Canadians too, indigenous of Canada, they do have truck driving school. But I doubt that is going to be, the rate is going to be compared to Indians, you understand. So yeah, the barrier is there. I think we have to just deal with it, right? That is what I think I can say about that. So your second question on US visa, yeah. The class of visa you are going to have to get is B1, B2, all right, visitor visa. So you just go into the US and come back. They believe you are doing your job. As a matter of fact, if someone is still a PR, you are yet to get your citizenship. At some point, some people were saying like, the number of days you spent in the US is going to be deducted from your blah, blah, blah before you get your citizenship. Like, we all know what I mean. That doesn't apply to truck drivers. No matter how long you stay in the US, you are doing your job, you are still a PR holder or what have you, and it doesn't affect whenever you are planning on becoming a citizen or what have you. So the class of the visa is B1, B2, like I've said, just visitors visa, go in, drop your good, then come outside. And then acquiring the visa, like you mentioned, that's also very brilliant, which I could have difficulty in that aspect too, if not for that my boss, right? Like, he's just simply God sent. He knew everything about the shortcut and what have you. So he just told me, apply for this visa first. I applied, let's say I applied May. My interview date was scheduled for like a year after. And I was like, why would I be getting? He said, don't worry. Have they given you a date? I said, yes. Then he had to walk me through the site. So during that process, I realized that there's a portion that is called expedite. So that expedite is a place where you could fast track your appointment date and time with convincing reasons. So in my own case, he just told me, you are a truck driver, drop it there in the mail. Tell them you are a truck driver, you are working at getting your license, and you need to start working. So you can't wait for the appointment that you have been given to come up in about a year or so. So after that, he equally gave me a mail. I don't know where he got that mail from, but it's to the US Embassy. So he just gave me the mail, forward them a mail to explain, just like you have explained right on their website. So I did that too, and less than 5 days, they mailed me back themselves, and they shifted my day of appointment to like a week. That I was like, I was almost even not going to be available for that, because I already had something planned up, but I had to just, so as a truck driver, I think they give us that priority. Once they know that you are a truck driver, they know you cannot wait. So except if you know the process, like I've just mentioned, the expedite is on their website. You shoot them a mail, then their email that I just mentioned, there's no way you do those two things that they won't move forward your date of appointment. I got two guys, one in Calgary, another one in Ontario, that contacted me when they want to start. At the point when they are applying for visa, exactly the same thing I'm saying now is what I told them. They followed it through, and the appointment date was fast-tracked. So I believe that has answered your question under US visa. You loaded that US visa portion. So to the third one, you were like, for a newbie, like if you're looking for a job with trucking companies, of course, they will tell you if you have US visa. It is a very major requirement. And the reason why that is because US pays more than Canada. All right. Talk of the currency value, we all know USD is weightier than CAD. That's number one. Number two, a load that you are getting for 2,000 in US, you'll be getting it for like 3,000, 3,500. Oh, a load that you are getting for 2,000 in Canada, you'll be getting it for like 3,000, 3,500 in the US. So most of those employers here, they will, no matter what, want a driver that can go to the US because they know they are going to earn more transporting goods from here to that side and having a driver that is only going to be confined to Canada, which pays, lesser, so to speak. So to the third question on newbie years of experience when you approach companies, yes, that is true, but it's not with all companies, right? And the reason why I think those companies are looking for drivers with experience is not far-fetched. They are all about safety, right? Once you got some years of experience under your belt, you know that yes, this person has seen it all. He has weathered some storms, all right? Unlike a rookie who they don't know how he managed to pass his exam and all of that. During my training, like, with all due respect, I met some guys that I know that you have just been here to waste your money. You can't be a truck driver. Some guys, you see by their fruit, we shall know them, like, you understand. You just know in terms of resilience, tolerance, composure, calmness, they don't have it. And you can't be a truck driver if you don't have those qualities I've mentioned and even more. You understand? So I believe that is the major reason why most companies do watch out for drivers with experience. But that said, I know Bison. If you are a newbie, what they do is they fix you to a driver, one of their experienced drivers. So you'll be on the road with that driver for as long as that driver, experienced driver, certify you fit. In my own case, of course, I was attached to an experienced driver too. But thank God, it's what I wanted to do, under a week, the guy was like, guy, I'm just calling the boss. You need to be on your own. I don't need to be training you. You don't need training. And I was even begging him, please, let me just stay with you for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't know it all, just, And then, here we are. You understand? So I think,
thank you
if I've been able to answer your question, boss.
Yeah, that's quite insightful.
Thank you so much.
So the last person is Idayat Keshiro. Can you unmute you, then you can ask your question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's an opportunity to be here. I want to appreciate Mr. Wasiu, and I also want to appreciate you as well, Tolu, for bringing this up. So I would like Mr. Wasiu to speak more on that dispatch aspect. I'm more interested in that aspect. When do you have to be like have an experience, like work in the field of haulage, or maybe like for you to be able to know how that dispatch aspect works? Because some of us might not have that mind to be able to go get a truck and look for drivers, because of the peculiarity relating to it. But the aspect of having to source for jobs and also get drivers that would come and ask for those jobs to do. So that's the part I would appreciate if you can speak a little bit more on. So how can one go about it regarding that? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, the dispatch and the broker aspect you mentioned, I think is a good question, really. Of course, you can venture into them without having a prior knowledge about truck driving. You don't necessarily have to be a truck driver before you can become a dispatcher or before you can become a broker, right? Most of the brokers that do give us jobs too, we know that they don't know jack about trucking. They don't even know, they just, calculate based on the mileage where they are sending us to deliver their goods, and that's it. So there is huge employment opportunity in that aspect too. And then I think to integrate into that line of profession, there are some online courses. In fact, I know too well about dispatch. You can do a training of just 1 week and you become a certified dispatcher. It is possible. You understand? So, and then it doesn't require you to have any background knowledge of how a truck is driven or how it moves or anything about modus operandi of a truck. No, you can do that independently. And the major work of a dispatcher, like I've said, is just to find the load. Tell you, get a load for you, going so place. I think it's going to be a connection between from the broker aspect down to the dispatcher. Every broker must have a dispatcher, if you understand. So the broker will find the load, then they give it to the dispatcher, just like some office or errand guys, let me put it like that. But of course, that is also an employment, aspect on its own. So I don't know if I've been able to answer your question.
Hidayat.
Yes, you have. So how do you now become a broker?
For the training, I don't know about that much, but of course, like you have asked me now, I believe if you type it, loads of information, you get it. And guess what? The brokers are making cool money nowadays, even more than with the truck drivers. It's their season now, for the reasons that I don't know.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Wasiu. There's a very interesting question. Someone says, is it possible for a partner to go on the road trip with their spouse? Maybe on some occasion to show support. Like, can you take your wife along?
Of course. You can take your kids. It's allowed.
Like, okay. Yeah, so what are the safety precautions for kids? I know when you're driving.
So long your spouse or your children have got US visa or anywhere you want to go to. If it's in Canada, I can take my family. If I know it's going to the Canada bound trip, I can take them anywhere. So the US, get to the border. How many of you are in your truck? 2, 3, 4, 5. Show them your visas, and you're good to go.
Awesome.
A lot of times you see couples with their families. It's on YouTube.
Nice.
You see many drivers with their spouses, even with their kids.
So for all the roots in the house, there you have it. You can go with your husband. Someone said, how much? Someone said, how much? We have more questions. We need to round up. Someone said, where do you park your truck? Do you pay for daily parking? Do you really get to park?
Yeah. Fortunately, that's another beautiful thing about the trucking industry. 90% of the time, we always have free parking spaces that you can even park your truck as long as possible. When I say as long as possible, I mean as long as possible, right? Like I've been home since Thursday. I just parked my truck at one filling station on Marion, right? And that's where it's been chilling. Occasionally, if I want, I can just go check on it and then come back to my house. So we have free access to park at any filling station, so long there is space there.
Oh, nice.
And it is a truck filling station. You can park, leave your truck, and then just find your way to when you want to come back for it.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if you've answered this. Someone said, how much is it to drive for a company as a truck driver? What's the hourly rate?
Yeah, our job is per mile. It's not per hour, it's per mile. And the minimum any newbie could get out there is 55 cents per mile.
Okay, so it now depends on how many miles you cover.
So like when I used to work for a company, I know I used to average about bi-weekly, I used to average 6K or 7K. I've let out another secret now, right?
6K like in 2 weeks.
That's it.
Oh my God. Wow, thank you. Okay, yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Wasiu. Am I seeing one hand? Miriam. Hey, who not allowed to go? Tomorrow
My hand is up too.
I'm not seeing your hand. Okay, let's have Miriam first. Miriam, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Wasiu and CNB Hub for giving us the opportunity. Mr. Wasiu have given us all the information that we required. Thank you for that. Just one thing, can we have his phone contact?
Okay, up to you. Mr. Wasiu.
And we'll discuss that after
That's the consultancy. Is there a space for that in that ecosystem, like consultancy? You can start that one too.
No worries, boss. You can get in touch with the host after the program.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. So somebody said he was raising his hand. I haven't seen your hand, but you cannot. What's the name, please, so that I can unmute you?
I'm on mute already.
Okay, yeah. So please go ahead.
My name is Victor.
Oh yeah.
I like the way Tolu like money because I love money too.
We did not come to Canterbury jail.
Yeah, but I want to talk to Wasiu because I know this business
one language or
It's not, like you said, it make it so simple. I like him for that, but I know it's not.
Sorry, Mr. Victor, I'm going to unmute you. Someone was speaking in the background, so I needed to unmute to mute all. I'm actually looking for you now so that I can. Oh, sorry about that.
Hello.
Okay, yeah. So please go ahead.
No, I said I want to say thank you to Mr. Wasil. Yeah, make everything so simple, but I know it makes it too simple for us. But I know there are so many other things. But we want to thank him. But I would still like him to give us accurate figure, because we guys we work with figures. If it's okay, we make 20K every month, we make 15K. Then that one will ginger us. We can start trading tomorrow.
At least you make 12K.
The numbers is very important for motivation. Yeah. Thank you.
So if you say fix 6.5 as a starter by monthly, like in 2 weeks, that's like 12K in a month. Like you're just a newbie. So you can imagine when you have your own truck. Mr. Wasi, you want to answer that? Oh,
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, apologies. I think I made a slight mistake there. Monthly, while I was working with a company, I think I'm averaging around 7 to 8 grand. All right. So bi-weekly is around 4,000. Sometimes when I ground, I make 4-5 for real. All right. And then to answer your question straight, it depends on your energy, the push, what drives you. You might get to the truck and probably be someone that cannot drive more than 3 hours before you take a rest. All right. Like me, I drive 13 hours non-stop. If I stop, it's probably when I want to fuel or have my brunch or what have you. You understand? So essentially, it's all dependent on how much you are able to roll. You understand? Like we have been saying, it's per mile. You get paid per mile. So definitely, as your tire is rolling, your money keeps rolling in. So if your tire is not rolling, nothing is coming in. You understand? So that's it. And with my current situation as an owner operator, I have also given an insight into the income, right? Like on a trip, you can save up about, on a 3-day trip, for instance, you can save up about 3,000 in 3 days. Minimum 2,000 in 3 days. But don't forget, I said, as those monies are coming in, you have to be careful not to be a wasteful spender, because you never know when your truck is going to break down. The expenses to cover that breakdown is going to be 100% on you, right? As an owner operator. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wasil. Thank you, everyone that joined this call. I'm going to just be rounding up by asking you, what advice do you have for those that are interested in starting this business? You've given us a lot of advice, maybe just one line.
Welcome on board. The sky is fucking wide for every bird to fly. And I must say this, Nigerians used to say we get liver birds. Unfortunately, in this industry, I don't see Nigerians with the balls. We need more Nigerians with the balls. Those Indians are making the money there. And we are even stronger than them. Trust me. We are exposed than them. We have faced more challenges back home than them. So forget about road accident and all of that. That is for God to decide. So long you are driving your car without last mile VIO and you are doing it safely, you do the same with the truck, irrespective of any country you find yourself, Canada, US, or wherever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Someone said Mr. Wasil should get more trucks and employers. Are you looking to get more trucks anytime soon? Thank you so much, Mr. Wasil, for spending this evening with us. Thank you for sharing, for laying everything bare, not hiding anything from us. And I'm sure a lot of people would have gained something that they can fly with. Thank you, everyone, for being with us on this call. Once again, my name is Tifo Tolu, the convener of NaijaBusiness Hub, Canada NaijaBusiness Hub, and we have a Winnipeg marketplace where people are selling the koilewe, moi, all sorts, akara, pomo, fish, and people are cashing out every day. Currently, our group is maxed out, 1,025. we are open to expand the community using the community feature on the WhatsApp group. So until that's, if you're not there, maybe you can reach out to me. So when we open those other community within the group, we're going to share the links so that more people can come and sell their product. We want people to sell. We want people to share their business. We want to patronize each other. We want to build our community. We want to grow together. That is what being a Nigerian in Canada, it's all about. We are not hoarding information. We are not trying to be an island unto ourselves. We are ready to help one another to build our community and prosper together. Thank you for being on this call. Thank you, Mr. Wasi, for sharing, for giving us insight into this business. We are so much. And let me make a call, please. If you know anyone in daycare business that has established a daycare, I'm looking to interview someone to bring them on this market square chat so that we can have information as to how Nigerians, a lot of women are interested in starting a daycare center, but they don't have the information. I'm looking to have a chat with someone that can show us the road so that we have more people within our community. And there's a whole lot of need. I see people posting on groups, I've been on queue, I want they can to register my children. And there's a market for us within the community. If only a lot of us can take up that challenge, start that business. So we just need to have more information about the business. And I'm actually very looking forward to someone that is ready to share. If you know someone, please reach out to me on WhatsApp. I don't know if I dropped my number. Maybe I'll drop it. 431-792-8881. Yeah, please. And let's have that conversation. Thank you once again. My name is Tolulope Adebayo, T for Tolu of Brand Parlor. I am a brand consultant, brand identity developer, and I help brands. Really, yeah. But I've not started
Drop your number.
I've dropped it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Wasi, once again. And it's a good night and bye-bye from us at NaijaBusiness. So thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Have a lovely week. Yeah, bye.
Bye.